Staying with us here on TVC News at 1, the People's Democratic Party has announced that its planned National Executive Committee meeting, originally scheduled for Thursday, has been postponed to 28th of November 2024. According to the party, the move is to allow its members focus on strategizing and mobilizing for the upcoming Ondo State governorship election, which will take place on the 16th of November 2024. Senior reporter Demola Lawrence reports.
A meeting of governors elected on the platform of the PDP, People's Democratic Party, the National Working Committee, the Board of Trustees, and other prominent members of the party was held at the Bauchi Governor's Lodge. The meeting is part of a series of meetings by the leadership of the party to address recent internal wranglings in the party. Out of the 12 governors, only 5 governors attended: Bauchi, Osun, Rivers, Plateau, and Zamfara State, alongside BOT chairman and other stakeholders in the party. The agenda of the meeting is to strategize for the upcoming Ondo election and also better position the party ahead of the 2027 general election.
We are here to discuss issues that are germane, but which are internal. And of course, at the end of the day, we'll reveal to the media and to the world what we have done. Because the PDP magic is that it can always come back. We will resist with all our strength and capacity any attempt to convert Nigeria into one-party state. We will make sure that all the dividing forces will not succeed within us.
The party has resolved that the National Executive Committee, originally stated for the 24th of October 2024, has been rescheduled to 28th November 2024.
We are speaking with one voice that because we want to win the election, and still there may be some semblances of division and rancor, we don't want to give the opposition the opportunity to undercut us in Ondo, knowing fully well that Nigerians are looking up to us and our party members are looking up to us to make sure we rescue that state from the maladministration of the APC.
The People's Democratic Party internal crisis has become a big worry as the party seeks to put its house in order ahead of the off-cycle elections and hopes that the chances at the polls becomes brighter. Demola Lawrence, TVC News, Abuja.
Let's cross over to the presidential villa, where the governor of Jigawa State, Umaru Namadi, says the decision to prosecute those responsible for the tanker explosion in Mania village will depend on the findings of an ongoing investigation. The governor disclosed this while addressing journalists at the State House after meeting President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday. The tragic explosion, which occurred last week, killed more than 150 persons and left several others injured, with victims currently receiving treatment in hospitals. Governor Namadi assured that the investigative panel established by the state government will thoroughly review the incident, and only after its report would the government decide on whether to press charges against those found culpable.
I felt it is important to come and brief the president on what we are doing as a government, and also to thank him for sending a delegation immediately the incidents happened, which this action taken by Mr. President has been appreciated by the people of Jigawa State. So I feel to come and thank him for doing that, and also to brief him so far the situations where we are and what we are trying to do. Well, the situation is that as of today, we have about 181 people that died, and we have about 80 people in the hospital, and about 210 families are affected by this disease.
Let's bring you back here in Lagos State, where some residents of Iponri Estate in Surulere have expressed displeasure over the 2 weeks ultimatum given to them to evacuate the buildings by the state government. They accuse the government of not considering the current economic challenges in giving them short notice. Senior reporter Theophilus Elama has more on the story. I'll bring you that story in our subsequent bulletin. Let's move on to all the stories where Nigerians have been advised to take background checks seriously before employing domestic staff. This advice comes as police parade some suspects, including a domestic staff who made away with his employer's SUV vehicle at Zone 2 in Lagos State. Senior correspondent Ivy Kano reports.
Million households in Nigeria engage services of domestic staff. These employers rarely carry out background checks on these strangers that allow access into their homes, like the case of this domestic staff. Venue is Zone 2, Onikon, Lagos. 3 suspects are paraded, but one caught our attention. All he needed to do was hang around this popular estate gate in Lagos long enough to gain recognition, sympathy, or love from residents who drove in and out of the estate.
On the 11th of July 2024, one Chief Olasode Rotimi of Omole Phase 1 Estate brought a petition against some criminal syndicates. A team of policemen from the Zonal Anti-Piracy Unit swung into action through technology-driven policing, which revealed that it was a domestic staff, once Alauddin. 5 days after his resignation, he sent a friend into the premises to make away with the vehicle. He was able to do this because he was conversant with his boss's itinerary. He bought a new SIM card, registered it for that purpose.
I used to go and help him open the gate because he doesn't have a gatesman and stuff like that. So he told me once any time that he has a job for me. So February ending, he said about the job that he promised me. So he's wanting to give it to me now. So I said, okay. He asked me how much was I being paid where I'm working. I said, well, I work at 2 shifts, 35, 30, that's 70K. He said, okay, what about if I'm paying you 55, 50? I said, okay, that will be lesser for me because it will be less of stress for me.
The suspect says his knowledge of the workings of the security of the estate made it a lot easier.
The security has a line that he can call. This guy said as my boss, and the mechanic was coming, so they granted him access. He drove out the car, and that was all. The case is at the gatesman's house.
He says, though not proud of what he did, but his employer pushed him into the act.
All of a sudden, I started noticing some changes. He gets at me at every little thing, told me that he's not sure he can work with me and stuff like that. I became pressurized and frustrated.
The 27-year-old suspect, we were told, was arrested at Jabi in Abuja, and the Range Rover SUV was recovered at a popular plaza, also in Jabi. Ivy Kano, TVC News, Lagos.
Let's take it to our earlier story, where some residents of Iponri Estate in Surulere have expressed displeasure over the 2 weeks ultimatum given to them to evacuate the buildings by the state government. They accuse the government of not considering the economic conditions or challenges and giving them short notice. Senior reporter Theophilus Elama reports on this.
Residents of Iponri Estate in Surulere woke up to devastating news as, of course, the Lagos state government came in with its team to mark some buildings for possible demolition. Of course, while there are safety concerns raised, the residents are concerned as well about the timing and speed of the evacuation order. Iponri is a residential estate in the heart of Surulere in Lagos State. It's basically home to the elderly and their family who appreciate peace and tranquility. But this peace is about to be taken away from them, going by the recent eviction order given by the state government. The canal behind this school has become an albatross of sorts, as it's not allowing for free flow of water. When it rains, the stagnant water seeps into the school and residential areas, causing structural damage to the buildings. The state government marked some of these buildings it believes can't stand the test of time.
You don't have a solution without identifying the problem. The problem stems from the problem we have and those around us here is there's a canal behind us, which you can as well see. When the water overflows the canal, it flows back to the school.
Some are already admitted in the hospital as we speak, especially the elderly ones. They already admitted in the hospital because it's really affecting them psychologically. Because 2 weeks, where do you want them to go without no provision?
This development has thrown residents into despair as they wonder what next to do. Most of them have lived in the area for decades. This is the only place they call home. The figure from Datafite puts Nigeria's current housing deficit at 28 million units. Some of those affected are unhappy about the short notice, as it means they will be rendered homeless.
If you look at to my right hand side, that is where we call the setback to the canal. The canal is just at the back of these buildings that you are seeing now. So whenever it rains, there are overflows from the canal. Now, if the canal is being packed every time, the drainage system is being packed every time, this we are sure of that what we were witnessing then will not come back again.
We still have to understand that the government sold a property to people. It's meant to last 99 years. This is 35 years, 40 years. It has a problem. It should be the government, not the individuals that are being made anxious.
TVC crew witnessed when government officials from the Lagos State Building Investment Corporation met with the Residents Association. Perhaps this may be some respite for the owners and occupiers of some of these buildings. Theophilus Ilama, TVC News, Lagos.